Well, tonight I'm speaking with a Wisconsin mayor who admits he was a binge drinker, alcoholic, and he is battling alcoholism. He is in recovery. However, he did have a string of incidents. He says he has not had a drink in 6 months, but could be the problems with his public intoxication. Could this ruin his career? Watch this.
No, not my wife's sister.
This is the Sheboygan, Wisconsin mayor, Bob Ryan, a couple of years ago at a bar. In the cell phone video posted on YouTube, he acts as if he had something to drink, and then he speaks publicly about a sex act involving his sister-in-law.
I wouldn't know myself because,
Ryan is a husband, father of 3, and a first-term mayor. He admits that he has alcoholism. This photo from the Daily Mail appears to show him passed out in a restaurant. Calls for him to step down were loud in July. They've grown even louder since then. The mayor has refused to go, claiming his job has not suffered. Now he's the target of a recall election. He survived the first round this week, getting more votes than the 7 other candidates. Mayor Bob Ryan joins me now, along with his wife, Mary Ryan. Bob, I want to disclose my bias on this right away. I think it is... I have a lot of strong feelings about the disease of alcoholism, and I think when you stigmatize and treat somebody differently because they have the disease of alcoholism any more than if they had the disease of cancer, the disease of pneumonia, the disease of diabetes, you're out of line. And so for the community to demand you to step down, even though your disorder did not affect your functioning as a mayor, I'm very angry about that. So you tell me, do you think it did affect your job in any way?
No, my alcoholism has never affected my performance on the job. I've never missed a day of work due to alcohol. I can say I've never drank at work. I've never gone to work intoxicated. However, it has affected my public image, and public image as a mayor, you are they hold you up to a higher standard than the normal person, and some of my behavior out in public has not been acceptable to me or some of my constituents.
But Bob, that was a manifestation of your alcoholism. It's not a manifestation of who you are, and that's the part that really troubles me. And to clarify where you're at now, currently you're in recovery. Is that right?
Yes, I am. Next week will be 6 months that I've not had a drink. I go to regular meetings. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah, congratulations. And people don't understand how difficult a road that is for some people. Now, Mary, I know you yourself now what we call a codependent, and you've been involved with an alcoholic. Do you participate in the recovery process? Do you go to Al-Anon meetings? Do you support him in his recovery?
I totally support him in his recovery. I have not attended Al-Anon meetings regularly. I have sporadically done that. But I do support him fully.
And how do you feel about the community taking aim at him, Mary?
Well, I guess I'd like to clarify and say that I think the majority of people in the city of Sheboygan are very compassionate. It's those few that I guess I really can't understand how anyone could treat another human being as a few have. It just is incomprehensible. I don't understand it. I don't understand it at all.
And I want to remind people, too, that for men, particularly male alcoholics, the job is actually the last thing affected by their alcoholism. By the time the alcoholism is so severe that it affects their job, they're in pretty serious trouble at that point. Now, there is video, Bob, of you that has had a sort of a scandalous effect. I fear I'm obliged to roll it here. Is this? Can somebody tell me what actually? It's a YouTube video. Okay, am I okay rolling this, Bob? Is that okay? Okay,
yeah, you can roll that. That was a couple years old.
All right, let's see this.
No, not my wife's sister. She's a lot more fun than my wife. What are you doing here?
We got a free pass.
Bob!
And I think the question that comes to my mind is that your bottom, Bob? Is that it? You had to have a public bottom, as many people do sometimes, and maybe that will save your life.
Well, you have to. That video was actually taken some 2.5 years ago at this point. That was an afternoon. My wife and I were having some tough times ourselves at that point. I had gone out and had too many drinks. I was with a group of men, not knowing
You know
that
what?
I was being videotaped.
I'm gonna stop you. You do not have to explain anything as far as I'm concerned. You were using, and you did things when you were using, and you're not using now, and that's pretty simple
Right.
as far as I'm concerned. And you know, to me, again, I have very strong feelings about this because it affects other people out there who are struggling with this condition, that you have to be ostracized or in any way judged. As we say, you know, working with this condition is that you're not responsible for the disease, you're responsible for your recovery. Now, Bob, if I were one of the Towns members, by the way, and if you had a bad relapse, I would be merciless. I'm sorry to tell you. But I'm assuming that's a good way to motivate you to stay sober, by the way.
Oh, it most certainly is. You know, part of being a public figure is facing the media. And even last evening, we had an election yesterday, which I did place first out of 8 candidates. Now I'm going into a general election. This was a primary. But just before we drove down here to the studio in Milwaukee, I got a call from one of our local affiliates, television affiliates, that called my home. And they said, we have some questions. Can we do a telephone interview? I said, what are your questions? They said, well, you had a victory celebration last night. I said, well, I did have a celebration with my supporters. They said, well, you had it at a bar. I said, no, I didn't. I said, I had it at a restaurant. They said, well, the restaurant served alcohol. I said, well, I think all restaurants serve alcohol as far as I can tell. I said, I don't think a victory celebration would go over very well at a McDonald's. And they said, you know, and the whole thing is, you know, I mean, number one, it's like the media is never ending in trying to persecute. And then they said, well, were you drinking? I said, of course I wasn't. And the whole thing just never ends. Even our local newspaper had a photograph at this victory celebration. They had a picture of me, which was less than flattering, but I'm used to that. But then, of course, they managed to get somebody a hand in the picture, in the corner of the picture, with a beer glass in it. And this is the type of thing that just perpetuates. And you know,
listen, it doesn't hurt just you. It hurts the people who have this condition or are ashamed to come forward because of how they're treating you. It hurts people who are in recovery. You have nothing to apologize for. Just stay in your program. You know what I'm going to do now, Bob?
Yes.